Okay, so here we go. I am really excited about presenting this. It is something that I was just talking about for those who showed up earlier, that I have become so aware of the field of coaching. And I've been in leadership for probably 50 years, but in the field of coaching, recognizing that there truly is an art and a science to this field, that there is so much that we need to learn in working as coaches, because coaches truly are healers. They are folks who are here to support others coming to the next level of their own journey. And as with any field of study, there's both an art and a science, and most certainly in the field of coaching. As a psychotherapist for over 25 years, I've acquired a truly in-depth understanding of people, the human mind, and the human personality. And to this day, and people wonder why, I absolutely love people, and I love working with people. And coaching is just another way of doing that. And leadership, we are all born leaders. Whether we choose to own that power of leadership or not is another issue. But none of us, as unique individuals, have been created in order to simply be submissive followers. Even if you don't choose a leadership position, you're a leader. You are owning your own power. You're leading your own life the way you choose to do it. But now in the world of coaching, there's a science to that, and I'd like to go into that for a moment, and then later take a look at so much else, the art of it as well. But let's start with the science of coaching and leadership, because it is clearly a well-defined science. What we know through the world of epigenetics is that we are constantly shifting our basic DNA structure and functionality. We were taught years ago that the DNA you come in with is the DNA you leave with. But wonderfully so in the field of epigenetics, we're recognizing that that is not the truth at all. We can also see really that in the midst of living our lives, we're constantly shifting and changing our basic DNA and its structure. Constantly changing, and I can say that 4 or 5 times so you get it. We are constantly changing our DNA structure and functionality. It really is impacted by how we carry our stress, how we handle difficulty, how we handle change, and what impacts us physically, because our stress level impacts us on a physical level. It isn't just something, that's theoretical. Stress impacts all organic and systemic function. It has massive impact. And some folks, difficulty, well, it's just another piece that pops up in the journey. And yet for some others, difficulty is, oh my God, it's a crisis. There are folks who know life is a wondrous journey. And we have difficulties that show up and we deal with them. And yet there are other folks for whom we go from crises to crises to crises. Think of the stress that people carry in their bodies. And some folks have learned how to deal with life pretty much. But when change of any kind shows up, whether it's certainly large change in a job, change in a family system, change even for better, change terrifies them, and the stress that they carry in their body does significant impact. It changes so much that goes on in the DNA's structure and function, so that things shut down rather than function totally. How we carry our stress is enormous, and it truly does impact us physically. The medical world is now accepting that stress is really the basis for most disease. It's not predisposition, it's stress and how we carry it and what we do with it. Coaching of any kind, thus, is always having an impact on physicality, because coaching is really, whether it's life coaching, health coaching, or business coaching, what we are doing is we are brought in to deal with clients because they have increasing stress and or difficulties, and it doesn't matter in what area. Folks don't bring in assistance when everything is going perfectly well. They bring it in when they've outgrown where they are, and there's a stressor because I don't fit where I am, but I may not necessarily know how to go where it is I want to go next, and I may even not know where I want to go next. So for all of us who are in the coaching world, we are really, consequently, we're impacting the physical nature, because as we offer help, as we offer support, hopefully we are helping to decrease the stress level. One, they know they're not alone, and two, they're getting some assistance in learning how to think, how to approach, how to deal with issues that are presenting themselves. And so really, we're walking in the medical world, even if that isn't our intent. We end up doing so. In addition, their emotional and spiritual health are impacted. You know, as we bring in, because hopefully we've done our own work, and unfortunately many I've seen haven't necessarily done that. But for coaches who have done their own work, we're bringing in an impact on the spiritual beliefs. Is life a struggle or is it a gift? That's a huge question. Life is never meant to be a struggle, and it absolutely is a gift. And are we able to show them, or do they already believe that anything is possible? Imagine the stress decreasing in your body if you truly accepted that miracles happen every single day. Imagine what your body feels like if you don't believe in miracles, that life is a struggle and we have to keep working all the time. Emotionally, we work with our clients, again, regardless of the types of coaching that we do, their emotions show up. And what is their fallback emotionally? Is it depression? Is it anger or rage? Or is anxiety the major influencer in the lives of our clients? If we don't find that out, how do we know what we most need to impact, what we most need to address in supporting them going to the next level? Where do they go emotionally? And amazingly, I find so many people want to hide that. They don't want us to know that depression is a real issue, or that anger and rage is a real issue, for fear of their being judged by us. There's a fear of anxiety. They want to pretend that they are absolutely confident, absolutely together with no issues, and they've got it all figured out, and yet somehow they're turning to us to support them. So we know they don't have it all figured out. Nobody has it all figured out, even us. The gift of being a coach, if you've truly done your own inner work, is that you may know we have no idea what the future holds, but we know we've developed the skill sets that are ready, that we can handle whatever comes, that we know that whatever shows up, we are going to be ready because we have the skills to adapt and to deal with whatever shows. That's the confidence, that's the skill set we want to bring to the people we work with. But only if we've done it ourselves. You know, do you deal with those issues, or do you simply acknowledge them if they mention it? If you don't feel confident, you're not truly going to deal with them and reframe them for your clients. You know, coaching isn't therapy. Most definitely it isn't therapy. And to me, after almost 30 years of therapy, that's an exciting thing, that coaching is dramatically different than therapy. Yet it also does mean that we have to look at those emotional issues, because those are the emotional issues that keep us talking to their head rather than talking to the heart and their soul. So we need to know and identify what's going on with them emotionally so that we have the ability to truly see them where they are in order to take them where they're going. If we can't acknowledge where they are, we don't have the ability to fully bring them into the next level. The science of coaching lets us know that telling somebody something once, or telling them when they're in defense, when they're distracted, or when they're in pain, emotionally, spiritually, or physically, it truly means it's less likely that they will comprehend or integrate the knowledge or wisdom we're providing. Oftentimes people come into coaching when they are in dire straits, when they are feeling hopeless, when they are feeling lost. And when that's the case, it's truly difficult. It's very difficult to reach them, to quiet them down, to settle them in, so that we can get them to be present. But that's part of what we are expected to do and what's necessary for us to do in the world of coaching. And if somebody is in a coaching session, they are there because they are longing for something else. So they may be emotionally in pain, they may be spiritually in pain or physically, but they're there because they're longing for something else. They're longing for something in addition to, or something that is even better than, what's going on in their lives. I mean, they're looking at this. Physically, we're dealing with the biochemistry. You know, spiritually, as I said, life is a struggle and it's a gift. Emotionally, those are the patterns. But physically, the biochemistry is really important because stress impacts biochemistry. And that longing that they have, that desire that they have, has them in a stress-filled situation. And we need to look at, for better or worse, we're impacting them. We're impacting their biochemistry and their disease and disorders patterns. That even if you have a predisposition to disease based on your family, it doesn't get actualized if you learn to handle your stress in a different way, if you learn to change your belief systems. And through truly being present with our clients, being present with what's going on with them, we have the ability to calm their stress, thus to change their biochemistry, thus to change their disease and disorder patterns. We will be shifting it. And the longing and discontent that really are the calling cards. It's why they come to us. They're in discontent about where they are with their lives, what they're doing, and where they want to go. And there's a longing for something that's so much greater. That's why they come to us. So we really need to acknowledge all of those things that are going on prior to this, because scientifically, the whole science of this, the predictability, science is a predictable expectation. I know this is going to lead to this, which is lead to this. That's the science. And I know that if they are in hopelessness or in anxiety or in rage, there's going to be a longing for balance. And they're uncomfortable with where they are. And they may not present with any of those emotions, but there is a discontent with where they are. They want to go to the next level in their journey. And that really requires us to look at our own spiritual beliefs, our own spiritual thoughts. For many, they want to know about how to move forward. They want to go up into whatever is coming for them, but yet they have difficulty in letting go. For those of you who are coaches, take a look. How many of you have had clients come in and say, you know, I really want to take my business to the next level, or I want to get my health in line, or I want my life to change, but I don't necessarily want to change anything about me. I just want everything in the world around me to change. It's because there's a difficulty in letting go of their past and even their present. They can't stay in their present and go to their future at the same time. And staying so attached to the present doesn't allow them to even visualize a future. That's dramatically different, even though they're coming to us for that. Take a look at this, that there is really a mixed message more times than not when folks come into coaching. You know, one woman I'm dealing with came in because she wanted to deal with self-confidence. And that is true. But another part is that she's been a good girl most of her life, and it's time for her to live and go wild and give up the good girl and take on the wild woman, because she can accomplish so much more in her new life as an entrepreneur. You know? So really that longing and that discontent is what brings them to us. But it's a natural part of us to recognize what's going on with them so that we can take them to the next part. You know, the other part is that now it means as they let go of the present, and they certainly let go of the past, it's going to make things more complicated for you as the coach, because there's a safety in being in the present. There's a safety in holding on to the past because they know how to do all of it. They know what to expect, and they know how to operate there. They also have a huge desire for a sense of belonging, a sense of being present in a group, with people who are there, who are present for them, who really understand them. You know, it's the human condition. As much as somebody wants to go of the past, they also want to feel safety as well. They know how to operate there, and they have a sense of belonging there. You know, so you need to take a look at whether you're working with somebody who's ill or somebody who intellectually knows they need to exercise or eat right in order to heal. But until they're completely ready, until they're ready to give up the old way, no amount of information can support or sustain a permanent shift for them. When you're working with a life coaching client, the thought of becoming who they're meant to be, free and alive and filled with passion, can sound wonderful for them. But letting go of all those things that are holding him or her back or transforming the relationships they're in can appear too daunting if they are not truly invested in making those changes. And here we go, as the coach, being forced to recognize that what's necessary for them is truly a pragmatic spirituality. And we have to look at what is our own spiritual beliefs. How do we handle our own spiritual beliefs? What does that mean for us? All right. My sense is that, and just looking at this in business, when a company is ready to expand or shrink or even close because it's time for them to move on to something else, pragmatic spirituality there says the business they are in at the moment is really appropriate for who they used to be. The person they used to be created this. The person they're becoming may need a dramatic shift, may need a dramatic change. The person they're becoming may need to expand the company they're in. Or it may need to close the company they're in because they are now ready for something dramatically different. If this is a journey in which we are continuously becoming, how do they live that in their business? How do they live that in the real world? It's a powerful piece, because spirituality, when it's taken out of the world of concepts and you make it the world of day-to-day living, how do you live the fact that this is a spiritual journey, that you are constantly in the process of becoming, that your life is always changing, but it's changing according to what you do with it. It's changing according to all of this. It's changing according to everything that's about who you are and where you want to go and what you want to do. It's really absolutely amazing that we are so in charge of so much of our life. All right? My approach to all of this is totally that, because my style is up front, I tell my clients from the very first session, fasten your seatbelt. I used to say this to my students at IHAS, and I still say it to this day. Fasten your seatbelt, because if you truly enter coaching, if you truly enter the reality that this is a spiritual journey and you are beginning to take off, your life is going to change in every single area. Whether you're approaching life coaching, health coaching, or business coaching, we don't do just one. We change every element of their lives. We're holograms. And as with any hologram, when you change one aspect of somebody's life, you change them all. When a person learns to take care of themselves to make a major life change, whether it's business, health, or simply life, everything changes. Because if I am in a business and I want to shift it, shifting that's going to change my personal life. It's either going to give me more time for my personal life or less time. It's going to impact my health, negatively or positively. So what am I doing? If I'm a health coach and I'm working with folks and maintaining their health, I'm teaching them all of a sudden to take care of themselves. If they've been people who've been nurturing the entire world and I'm getting them to take care of themselves, we're doing a whole lot of shifting. All of their relationships are going to change, and their business is going to change because they're now making room for them in their lives. You know, there's so much that takes place when you recognize we are a hologram. And no matter what happens in one element of our life, it happens with all. So you can present yourself as a coach in a particular arena if you choose to do so. But you need to be ready to own the fact that you are all these areas. You are simply approaching the multiple areas through the one direction your client has asked you to work with. But if you're truly doing transformative work and not just intellectual shifting, in that transformational work, you are transforming every other aspect of who they are. When our clients first let go of that longing and that discontent, they really are moving into a state of passion, creativity, and expansion. They find new ways to love and be loved. They also find new ways to keep this new self that they are developing, that you are helping them develop, safe. They develop, because in a new business, you're also changing your self-image. When you're changing your health, you're also changing how you see you in the world. When you're changing your life, you're changing everything about how you are here, how you are present. All right? So in doing so, you want to find new ways to be loved, new ways to be valued. which means you also have to find new ways to do self-care, new ways of nurturing yourself, as well as nurturing other people, because we're never living in isolation. And until that client is totally integrated, totally understanding in how to become this new self, how to own this new self in the new world, we are really stuck. We're stuck with them wherever they need to be. We are stuck with them and being able to pull them forward. And we need to have the freedom to get unstuck in order to do that, in order to bring them to the next level. Because this way of learning how to take care of themselves, how to nurture themselves, and integrate all that you are teaching them, they are developing a desire to belong in a whole new way. And without that universal support on every dimension, our clients will question the authenticity and the permanence of the transformation you've tried to give them through the science of the work. We need to support and validate the new version of who they are becoming, as well as who they are at this very moment. Learning how to do that creates the art of coaching and leadership. The science is the predictability. The art comes down to how do we do this? Those are the things I just mentioned that we need to do. But now, how do we do it? Every one of us is going to do it in a slightly different way, because the art is what differentiates us from each other. Science is what we've learned, it's what we know, this is how it works. The art of coaching is developed by each one of us. And we are artists, believe it or not, very unique, very individual. And what happens here is that we go back and we teach so much. We teach everything that needs to be learned. Our clients are going to be drawn to us for different reasons. And going into that, you know, the transformation necessitates this art. The art is not just what differentiates us, but in the past 10 years, there's been this plethora of coaches that have developed. You know, in the 10 years since I came back, after living, as I was saying previously, I was shocked that coaches even existed. They had not existed outside of a few one-focus individuals in specific industries when I left the country. All of a sudden, when I came back 10 years later, they were everywhere, and it's like they were reproducing rapidly and with a wide range of training experiences. After getting over the shock that they existed, I decided to explore the new reality, and I then went on and looking at this art, because I believe in science and art, I went on and thought I want to develop this art, but I first need to understand the field. And so I went on and I decided to work with a woman who was a major coach with Tony Robbins. And I took a few week-long trips to Marina del Rey to study with her about 9 years ago so that I could become a part of an industry and really understand it. Not from an outsider observer perspective, but really being a part of the industry. And what I saw is there's an absolute similarity to healership, because coaches truly are healers. They're healing the discontent, they're healing the longing, and they're healing any of the wounds that are existing in their clients that are keeping them from going to the next level. And there are so many things that are involved in that. And it's really, really amazing. You know, and once I was a part of it all, you know, at the time I was teaching the art of healership to the students at my school, the Institute of Healing Arts and Sciences, and my point was to show them without a doubt that each brought their unique personality, their worldview, and their soul's essence to their work. And although along with hundreds of others, they over 1,000 people, they had received the same technical and spiritual training at IHAS as everybody else. Yet each was unique because each brought in, at times, wildly different backgrounds to this training. Consequently, even with the same background in the healing field at that point, each brought a different package to the table. And knowing that each brought a different package to the table, take a look that as coaches, that's absolutely applicable. Every one of us, even if we had the same training, and there are hundreds, if not thousands, of coaching programs out there. So there are a wide variety of training programs, some very effective, and some I think less so because they're less holistic in their approach. But take a look that depending upon who you are, depending on your history, you present to the world in a different way. And some clients are going to be drawn to you because of your gentleness. Some clients are drawn to people because of their directness. Some clients are drawn to people because of their outrageousness. And these are the clients that through osmosis want to have permission to become outrageous themselves. Some clients prefer more of this safer, grounded, I need to understand before I can go forward. And they're going to be drawn to the coaches that have very much of an intellectual approach. That doesn't mean that any one of these coaches is any better than the other. Simply different because they are presenting who they are based on their lifelong journey thus far. And clients are drawn to who you are, not necessarily who you studied with, because they don't understand the multitude of folks that are out there. They don't understand what's truly going on with many of the peoples that are there. All right? So we have to be aware of what we're doing. And what's really important to us is so many different things. You know, that we have to be the ones that are ready, because if they're there to learn from us, we also then have to look at what can we learn from them. And we can't take people, look at this piece that's up, looking at these different personalities, looking at the screen right now. We can't take them where we haven't been. And we need to look at what's going on with us. We need to understand our own process. We need to understand what's happening with us. And that if we develop an appreciation for our own gifts, we develop an appreciation for the studies we've had, the commitment to our own personal and professional growth, it's very easy to show them the need to appreciate that in themselves. We don't have to say, I'm confident. People can see it in us. We don't have to say, I'm good at what I do. People know if we believe that because they see it in us. It's the energy we put out. It's the presence we possess that lets them know we believe all of this. You know, it's who we are is what we're bringing. So we need to look at what our weaknesses are, what our vulnerabilities are, what we're most frightened of in working with people. We can't take them where we haven't gone. How can we show them how to work with individuals? How can we show them anything if we haven't walked the journey ourselves? And in this new school I'm opening, very much of that is about teaching people how to look at their own developing wisdom, how to look at their own ability for personal transformation. Because if you still have a lot of difficulty dealing with a wide variety of people, how can you honestly teach your clients how to do that? You really can't. And whatever type of coach you may be, you have to teach them how to work with people to sustain their health, to sustain their business, and to go forward in the next steps in their own journey and taking it forward. So look at what we need to know in ourselves before we can take somebody else to that same place. You can't take them where you haven't gone, because how can you show them the way and the strengths that are needed if you've never taken that trail, the risks needed, and the personal growth for that particular journey? Knowing your own limits and honoring your strengths is imperative. Know the types of people you're most intimidated by. What types of personalities drain you? Because if you've got a client who drains you, you're not going to be excited to see them or work with them. And we're all human. We all have those certain personalities we just want to slap or shake because they're more than we can handle. Is it somebody you need to refer out? Or is it somebody that you need to really work with your own coach to learn how to deal with? Know that in the art of coaching, this is you continuously developing, you continuously learning, because your personal growth, which is uniquely yours, is what you're bringing. That's the art of your particular coaching practice. Know the types of issues that touch your most painful point. And is this new client a gift for you? Or is it a gift that you know you need to give away? It's important to know that. It truly is. All that being said, the art of coaching and healing is the ability to stand fully in who you are while meeting each client where he or she is, without expectation. and without any agenda other than helping them achieve the goals they've set for themselves in your agreement. Most importantly, it also entails respecting their process as well as their timing. They may have signed up for a 3-month contract with you, and yet as you work with them, you may realize they need 6 months. That isn't because they failed or you failed. It's because the work was so powerful that as you took them to the next place, you both discovered that there's so much more getting in their way. And without judgment, they either re-up with you or they go to somebody else. But take a look at this. The art that you present is to willingly let them move on to another coach, or the art of saying, boy, have we discovered so much more than we knew. I absolutely love working with you and would love to go on the next adventure of doing this for another 3 months or another 6 months, or however you run your coaching programs. It's the art, it's the personal ability, it's the ability to be truly present with them. The art comes in allowing them to define or show you the issues that are supporting the self-sabotage, and you having the ability to see it. The art is also developed when you learn to see the issues of new patients walking in the door, so that before the first session is even over, you can understand their personality style, you can understand their vulnerabilities, you can understand the way in which they're getting in their own way. That's an art form. It isn't just a science, because how are you going to deal with that? It'll be different than somebody else deals with it. Each of you will deal with it differently. It's irrelevant how you do. What's important is simply that you do deal with whatever gets presented. And when you haven't done your work, you bypass things you don't want to look at because you haven't yet looked at them in yourselves. And so when you develop the skill of getting out of your own way, of knowing just what to say or do, and this is important, you want to know what to say or do that throws them a bit off balance so that they are not able to hold on to their own line of defense. And the more you develop the art of coaching, the faster and more capable you are of doing that. The quicker it is and easier it is for you to throw them off track when they come in locked in their defenses, locked in their issues. For you to have the ability within the first session to throw them off kilter, to let them see those defenses don't work here. Those issues are not invisible here. I see them. And I'm doing this in unconditional love because I want to support you going to where it is you want to go, which means you have the confidence, you have the ability to see that and to take them to those places. Your coaching skills and the result they achieve really support your reputation and most definitely separate you from the masses. When you have the ability to do these things, they really see you. They really see it. They can see that you see the self-sabotage. They know you see the issues they haven't even presented. They know you have the skill to get out of your own way, and they know that you have just thrown them off balance. And my clients laugh at me and they'll say, you did it again. You did it again. I was over here and you just zipped me over here with 2 sentences. How do you do that? In doing it in love, you're supporting them and seeing themselves for who they really are, away from all the masks, the illusions, and the defenses they've created. And in addition, you support them in seeing a life far beyond what they come in with. They come in with the next step. You allow them to see 2 steps up. You have the ability to take it so much further. That's the gift of you developing the art, because it's what makes, for me, it's what makes this work so life-giving, for me as well as for them. Knowing how to see far beyond the personality of your clients, how to see their heart and their soul, how to work with their energy field to shift their energy patterns, that makes you a coach that offers far more than they've asked for. It truly does. This is where the transformational work comes into play. You work far beneath their personality when you've truly developed the art form of coaching. And you take them to working on their own core longing, their life purpose, and the dreams they are able to touch or even dream about. You teach them how to dream beyond the next dream. You teach them how to dream 5 dreams up, which allows them to keep going, to keep moving, to keep growing. It is amazing, because what happens is you're teaching them that there is no limit and there is no end. Know that the work you're doing is really simply taking them to the next step in their spiritual journey. But know that in the bigger picture, you're also preparing them not just for the next step you're taking them to in their health, in their life, or in their business. You're preparing them by developing skill sets, by developing strengths, by developing spiritual awarenesses. You're taking them so that they are getting ready for 2 steps away, 2 dreams away, 3 dreams away. You're preparing them for so much more than just the next step in the journey. When you truly have developed the art form, you're helping them to achieve this step, yes, but the skills for so much more. And you're letting them see that miracles happen every single day. Every time you zap them and let them see that I'm not buying that. I'm not buying the defense you just put up. They have a lightness that comes about. There's a freeing, there's a letting go. And with that, it feels like a miracle. And you're letting them see that miracles happen every single day. And that's supporting and guiding them towards everything they're meant to be, one dream at a time. And it takes you as a healer to the next level, as a coach to the next level. And the more we can do that level of transformation, of bringing people to that spiritual awareness, the more we are supporting everything going to the next level. That makes life so exciting. It truly does. And that's why I've decided to open up my school, the Institute for Transformational Coaching and Leadership, because what I'm doing, what I'm offering in that program, and our first class starts October 23rd with a 3-day intensive. And what that's about is really taking coaches who are working in this field of healing, who are working in this field of transformation, perhaps without even knowing it, to a deeper level, because you can't take people where you haven't been. And so my school is really about taking you, no matter how far you've come on your journey, to places you've never been, to meeting you where you are, so that I can support you going further and further down the journey, taking you further and further to places you don't know, teaching you as a coach, which is different than in any other modality, teaching you as a coach how to work with different personalities, showing you as a coach doing supervision and supporting you and seeing where you may still be getting in your own way working with people, and where you don't just hold them back, you hold yourself back because you're getting in your own way. The school is really about taking you and your coaching to the next level so that you stand out in such an extraordinary way that there are very, very few other coaches who have the ability to do the level of transformation you can do, because you're there working at a whole other level of existence. I do hope this has supported you, and if you do have questions about the school, do check it out. Go to my website. Look at what needs to be done. Contact me. I can send you far more information. Call me, email me. Let me know what you need, because I truly would love to support you. And if you're ready to go to the next level, I'm here to take you there. This is fun for me. This is my living my dream. This is my living my calling to truly be there for people. Now, if you have any questions, please write them in. Please let me know what they are, and I can answer them right now. I can be here for you to support you with any questions that come up. All right? What I've got here is from Denise. Will you give a refresher on doing our own work and not just recognizing where we are in defense? I most definitely will. You let me know exactly what you need. Also, will this school follow the IHAS teachings? Very much so. It's going to follow the IHAS teachings, but in a very different way. What it's going to do is take the 3 levels of existence, take the personality constructs, and take you to an entirely different level of working with individuals, so that on a coaching, this is the healing work was done often in silence. Working with individuals in coaching, you have to know how to lead them so that they go to where it is they want to go. You're there to support them getting out of their own way. Will it help you to bump up your healership? Amazingly. Denise, you've come so far. I mean, I've watched you, I've seen you, whether it's online or in families, when I've seen you with the family. You have come so far in living your own life, but there's so much more. We're never done. That to me is the exciting journey. We are never done. We're continuously growing and changing, and I, as a teacher, am continuously growing and changing. And all of you out there listening to this are continuously growing and changing yourself. There's so much to learn. There's so much growth to take place. And to me, jumping in is the way to do it. And because this entails just 2 times where we get together, the first time is a 3-day intensive. The rest of the program is going to be online. And when you go to the site, you can really see that. I can let you know all the details. They're written up. I can send all that to you. But it is, the first is a 3-day intensive, and then we'll be done Thursday nights. There'll be a training the first Thursday of every month on Zoom, which is akin to Skype. And there'll be a half-hour training and then a Q&A afterwards. And then 2 other Thursdays in the month, we're going to be online again as well, doing supervision, doing work, individual work with each of you in the program. It will be limited. This time it's only limited to 10 people because I really want to do intensive work. So it's the first 10 people who sign up who will be present. All right. So other than that, you'll have to wait to another time. But the first 10 folks who sign up will get in, and it will be intensive. So you'll be doing deep levels of personal growth, as well as improving and taking your skill set as a coach to the next level. Are there any other questions? What I'm going to do is come over here and open this up. And if anybody has any questions, I've now unmuted you. Is there anybody here now unmuted so we can hear all? I can hear all of you. So, are there any questions from anyone out there?
Yes. Where will the intensive take place? The 3-day intensive that you mentioned.
It will take place up here in the Shoreline in Connecticut.
Okay.
What town is that?
Another question?
What town is the Shoreline in?
What it is? Old Saybrook. It is Essex, Clinton. This area here, right along 95. Depending on the size, there are different locations that I saw. So I confirm that when I know how many people are coming in. But it will be right within this general area.
Okay, that sounds good.
Any other questions?
Gorgeous.
It is absolutely gorgeous. I'm biased, but it is absolutely gorgeous. Living on the shoreline. Oh my God! I thank God for the water, for the energy, the vibrancy that's here. So, are there any other questions? If not, we can end.
Who else is on? Who else is on this call?
There are a number of people on the call. That too many for me to list right now. So,
Anybody from us that would know?
Anybody from where?
IHOS that I would know.
I don't know. There are different years in which people graduated. Some IHOS people are here. Eileen, when did you graduate?
Oh gosh, I was in your 2nd class. So what would that have been? I don't know. Whenever that was. Time flies when you're having fun, and I am having a heck of a lot of fun.
Early 90s to mid 90s.
Yeah, that sounds right.
I had the school for 20 years. So no, it would be the 80s. I had the school for 19 years. So it would be a lot. But in any event, know that I am here. If you have any questions, please do write Dorothy at AskDrDorothy.com, or send me your phone number, and I certainly will. I'll give you a call, see if there are any questions I can answer, if there's anything that's up, and I would love to be there for you. Thank you so very, very much for attending.